In the 1960s, when there were heated debates about nutrition, Harvard nutritionists published 2 studies in a major medical journal downplaying the role of sugar in the development of coronary heart disease. However, there are documents indicating that the sugar industry trade group initiated and funded this research, reviewed the drafts, and set the goal to protect the reputation of sugar in the eyes of the public at all costs. This discovery, published in the journal, was made by Dr. Kearns. She retrained from being a dentist to a researcher and found traces of the sugar industry while digging through boxes of letters in the basement of a Harvard laboratory. In her work, she details the story of how 2 famous Harvard nutritionists, Dr. Frederick Stair and Mark Hexted, now deceased, closely collaborated with a trade group, the Sugar Research Foundation, which tried to influence public opinion regarding the role of sugar. When the disease emerged, the trade group persuaded Hexted, a professor of nutrition at Harvard School of Public Health, to write a review dismissing the findings of early studies linking sucrose and coronary heart disease. The group paid an amount equivalent to today's $48,000 to Hexted and his colleague, and the researchers did not disclose the source of funding. Hexted and Stair left no stone unturned in criticizing the studies that condemned sugar and concluded that to prevent disease, only fat and cholesterol intake needed to be changed in the diet. These reviews were published in 1967 in the New England Journal of Medicine, whose rules at the time did not require scientists to disclose possible conflicts of interest. At that time, researchers were debating which product, sugar or fats, was responsible for the deaths of many Americans, especially men, from coronary heart disease, the buildup of plaque in the heart's arteries. Kearns says that the work, which the trade group later cited in brochures intended for regulators, helped increase sugar's market share by convincing Americans of the benefits of a low-fat diet. Kearns calls these documents, which are kept in her office, the Sugar Papers. Almost 50 years later, some nutritionists consider sugar to be one of the risk factors for heart disease, although there is no consensus among them. 2 major studies published in an influential journal helped shift the focus of debate from sugar to fats, says Stanton Glantz, Kearns' co-author and her supervisor at the time. This delayed the development of scientific consensus about sugar and heart disease for decades. Marion Nestle, a nutritionist at New York University who was not involved in the study, says she is not yet convinced by the arguments of those who believe that sugar is a poison. The total number of calories a person consumes may matter more, but she called the discovery of the smoking gun a rare example of irrefutable evidence of manipulation by the food industry in science. "Science shouldn't work like that," she wrote in a comment. "Is it true that food companies deliberately try to manipulate research in their favor?" "Yes, that's true, and this process is ongoing," she added, noting that Coca-Cola and candy manufacturers have recently tried to influence nutritional research. In its statement, the Sugar Trade Group claims that the very study is being unfairly criticized. "We acknowledge that the Sugar Research Foundation should have acted with greater transparency in its work with research," writes the group, now known as the Sugar Association. "But it's very difficult for us to comment on events that happened 60 years ago and on documents that we haven't seen at all." Sugar does not play a unique role in the development of heart disease, the group claims. "We are disappointed that a journal of JAMA's caliber uses articles with sensational headlines to refute quality scientific research." Kearns, a frail and quiet woman who often blushes when speaking, is not suited to be a crusader against the sugar industry. She was studying to be a dentist and shared how shocked she was when, in 2007 at a dental conference, a speaker discussing diabetes claimed that there was no evidence linking sugar to chronic diseases. She quit her job and dedicated herself to uncovering documents that showed the sugar industry's influence on public opinion and science. Now she has managed to collect 2,000 pages of internal documentation. She keeps them in 2 fireproof cabinets at her workplace. Together with photographs of decaying teeth and boxes of sweets, Cocoa Pebbles and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Her previous work demonstrated how the sugar industry influenced the government dental research program to look for cures for cavities instead of studying the benefits of reducing sugar consumption. For her new research, Kearns flew to Boston in 2011 and spent several days at the Countway Library of Harvard Medical School, digging through boxes of letters left there. Hexted, according to Nestle, was a hero among nutritionists. He helped draft the United States Dietary Goals, a 1977 Senate report that paved the way for the country's first dietary guidelines. He supervised the nutrition department at the Department of Agriculture. Looking through his letters, Kearns was shocked by the level of his cooperation with the sugar industry. She discovered that in the 1950s, the Sugar Research Foundation developed a strategy to increase sugar's market share by switching Americans to a low-fat diet based on research that blamed fat and cholesterol for high blood pressure and heart problems. All of this was described in a speech about 1954 delivered by the president of the trade group. John Higson, vice president of the foundation and research director, closely tracked the nutrition studies progress. In an internal memo from 1964 found by Kearns, he suggested that the group launch a major campaign to counter the negative attitude toward sugar, partly by funding their own research aimed at disproving our detractors. Higson hired Steer, the chairman of the nutrition department at Harvard Medical School, to join the foundation's panel of experts. In July 1965, right after the publication of articles linking ordinary table sugar to coronary heart disease in the Annals of Internal Medicine journal, he turned to Hexted for help. Higson agreed to pay Hexted and Magendie $6,500 for their services, which, adjusted for inflation, is $48,000 today. The services included writing an article reviewing several papers that described a certain threat to metabolism found in sucrose. When the work was published the following year, the authors mentioned that it was funded by other sponsors, but didn't say a word about it. The Sugar Research Foundation. Hexted's reviews covered a wide range of studies. He refuted works that named sugar as a cause of coronary disease. He only found merit in those works that blamed everything on fats and cholesterol. The letters show the complex maneuvers the sugar industry used to change public opinion, he says. They carefully monitored research and selectively chose which scientists to approach, and as a result got everything they wanted, says Glantz. This material, taken from an American website, is quite controversial. Supranational governance is interested in reducing the planet's population. That's why corporations act inhumanely towards people, so they commit all kinds of crimes, up to and including organizing wars. And it's no surprise that all this research is falsified. Both the research on sugar and on other types of harmful products are systematically replacing those that give health to the body, not take it away. The structure of the teeth, intestines, and other features tell us that humans are not predators, not herbivores, but frugivores. Grains and root vegetables are also not species-appropriate food for humans, with rare exceptions. Everything that humans consume today, the body tries to convert into the sugars that it needs. And what cannot be absorbed, the body eliminates, but for a number of reasons it cannot do this completely. As a result, a person develops many diseases. That is, firstly, the sugar obtained from beets is not a substance that the body can fully absorb, and also because beets are a poisonous root vegetable for humans. Whether it is energetically structured or in some other way, it will bring this information into the body. For example, sugar obtained from sugarcane or ripe fruits will be beneficial for the body, but it is either not available for sale or is very expensive. And even if you do find it, most likely it will be replaced with a synthetic substitute. Secondly, sugar, like many other toxic products, has a narcotic effect. This is the principle by which a person's diet is formed within modern civilization by global governance. For this reason, it is very difficult to give up sugar, just like wheat, meat, spicy seasonings, alcohol, and other food products that, so to speak, contain narcotic substances. And thirdly, this sugar is very much loved by fungi, bacteria, and other organisms that parasitize the human body. Watch the Hydra playlist on the channel. Ultimately, by occupying their niche, they form the diet they need, making a person crave certain types of foods that are unnatural for humans. And while toxins or harmful substances can be removed through regular fasting or following diets, it's almost impossible to fight fungi. They affect the skin, gradually invade all internal organs, take away vital resources, and ultimately lead to premature death. As a result, we see a progressive decrease in lifespan and an increase in many incurable and deadly diseases. Therefore, the treatment of any pathological or deadly disease should begin with a complete refusal to consume the above-mentioned products.